Okay. What nations slash carriers use site stabilization? US. Would the US use site stabilization? On a whole, no. However, there is one stipulation. On the midway, you might use site stab for two reasons. The torpedo aiming is extremely slow, so anything that helps that is definitely a buff. It's not a big change, it's never been a big change, but some people live and die by that talent, so you might take it for torpedoes. Also, you can take it for the bombs, because against destroyers or actively maneuvering cruisers, it used to be that the bomb reticle automatically aimed regardless of whether you turned or not. Well, that was changed. The bomb reticle only aims when you go in a straight direction now. Because of this, you don't have as much time to maneuver and aim, as opposed to before when all you had to do was maneuver. So because of the nerf on the aiming of the US bombs, taking site stab may help try to dial in that reticle while going after a destroyer or highly maneuverable target. So in the case of the midway, site stab is useful. In terms of the FDR or other US carriers, I can't recommend it. You might maybe use it on the Saipan for similar reasons, because the Saipan literally uses midway equipment. For the IJN, yes. Why on the IJN? The torpedo aiming is slightly anemic, especially when you get to the Shikaku and to the Hakuryu. Also, the Kaga, you could use it on as well, because the Kaga is such a torpedo-focused carrier. But the other very large reason to use site stab is for the bombs, because the AP bombs, when you start your attack and you're going up, you want this reticle to firm as quickly as possible so that you can drop here as opposed to dropping here. Because the reticle goes from this angle to that angle, this is going to be slightly steeper if you're able to drop earlier, which means site stab can be the difference between firming the reticle for a high drop or having to wait for the reticle to firm for a mid drop. That can be significant, or at least I feel so. For the British line, no. There's no reason to use site stab on the British line. The torpedo or the carpet bombs can be pre-aimed, which means you start the attack before you actually get to the target. So the reticle is dialed in. It doesn't need help. The torpedoes are extremely responsive in terms of aiming and are in fact very maneuverable. While you could use it on the rocket planes, you don't need to. So I cannot recommend it on the British. German, no. The German is extremely fast aiming on all of its equipment. Its torpedoes, its rockets, and really its bombs as well. There's no situation where you need site stab on any German carrier that I am aware of, or British. So US, Midway, and Saipan, which basically use the Midway equipment. IJN, yes, I do actually like this on the IJN line. Shikaku and Hakuryu and Kaga really being the standouts there. Ryujo can live without it. Hosho can live without it. And then for the British and German, no. There's no need for it, at least none that I can describe.